For today's recipe, we will need 2 poblano peppers, 3 serranos, 4 garlic cloves, 3 tablespoons of butter, half a cup of chopped cilantro, 1/4 of a cup of flour, 1/4 of a cup of milk, 1 1/4 cup of chicken broth, shredded chicken, and I made this with my slow cooker and I have a video up on my channel, but you can also use a rotisserie chicken if you don't have time. I'll be using mozzarella cheese, some chicken bouillon, and corn tortillas. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to roast our poblano peppers and peel them. We can definitely omit this step and you can just get straight to chopping them up and cooking them, but I really like the flavor of roasting them. But if you do not have time, you can definitely skip this step. So once they're nice and charred, I'm going to put them in a bag and seal them for about 10 to 15 minutes so they can soften up and I can peel them and then chop them up. Now, as you can see, they're getting that nice charred look, that nice roasty look. As soon as they're roasted all the way through, we're done and we can move on to the next step. Alrighty, now that my peppers have been sitting for about 10 minutes, I'm just going to go ahead and gently peel them. And I'm just using a napkin and rubbing it very lightly on the chili. Very simple process, and as long as you roast them right, it'll be very easy to do. So I'm going to do this for both chilies. Then I'm going to remove the seeds and chop them up. Just finished peeling them, and now I'm just going to get rid of the seeds. If there's some seeds left, like obviously it's not the end of the world, just taking them off because for this recipe I don't need the seeds, and honestly I don't think it even makes the chili spicy. So that's why I'm adding 2 serranos, because in our household we like to have spicy food. My fiance and I love it, so that's why I added the serranos. But if you don't like spicy, you can omit the serranos, or you can just add 1 for a little bit of a kick. You don't have to add as many as I did. So, and I love when they're roasted because it really brings out the flavor in them and it makes them so nice and tender. So, and you only need 2. And this is a similar process to when you make chile rellenos, except not as intense. This is way easier. Okay, now we're going to move on to cooking them. We're going to melt 1 tablespoon of butter in about medium heat. And we are going to add our garlic, our serranos, and our roasted poblanos. Now, if you recall, I mentioned that you don't have to roast them. You could skip that step and just chop them up. So right now, we're going to cook them until they've softened a little bit, so for between 8 to 10 minutes. And then we'll add the rest of the ingredients. Now it's been about 10 minutes. I'm going to add the remainder of the butter, the 2 tablespoons. And we're just going to let that melt. And once that melts, we're going to add our flour. So this sauce is going to be very creamy. It smells really good. It adds a little bit of a spicy smell, and I think it's the serranos. But the smell of the garlic with the poblano and the butter, it smells like heaven. Okay, now that the butter has melted, we're going to coat the veggies with flour to thicken the sauce. And we're going to stir this for about 2 minutes. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a thick paste around the chilies. And once we've done that, make sure they're all coated. We're going to add the broth, the chicken broth. And we're just going to go ahead and continue mixing until there's a very little clumps. And then after that, we are going to blend it. Going to blend it and then bring it back to our pot to continue cooking it, and we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. So as you can see, it's creating this thick sort of sauce. And oh, I almost burned myself. And this happens because of the flour. Now, I don't see any clumps, so I'm going to go ahead and blend it. Alrighty, so I've finished blending my sauce. Now I'm going to pour it back into my pan. Now what we want to do is we want to let it come to a slow simmer. You don't want it to boil. And now we're going to add our 4th cup of milk. And it's recommended to use whole milk. Unfortunately, we kind of try to stay away from milk, so I'm using almond milk. And it's still going to be really good. It's not a big deal. So we want to stir it until the sauce is thickened, and you can feel when it's thickened when you go like this and the sauce just kind of comes together real quick. It's nice and thick, and we want to keep it at a very low simmer. So now you want to try it. It's very, oh, it's good. It's spicy. I'm going to add some chicken bouillon to taste. So it all depends on your own taste buds. And now we're going to add our cilantro. you don't like spice, definitely don't add the serranos. But if you're not afraid to venture out a little, one serrano should do the job. And just give it a little try. Oh, it's perfect. Now we want to just continue to simmer for about 2 or 3 minutes. And then we're going to turn it off and move on to our enchilada portion. Now, what I like to do to my tortillas is, so they don't break, I like to microwave them for about 30 to 45 seconds so that they're easy to fold when it's time to make my enchiladas. Once we coat our pan, we're going to start making the enchiladas. And it's a very, very simple process. I warmed up my tortillas for 30 seconds. You're just going to place your chicken in the center and just roll it. And it's a super simple process. Making enchiladas is one of the easiest things to do, and so flavorful. And there's so many ways to make enchiladas. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay. And our last one. And I'm making about 12. So now we're going to place them on our baking dish. And you're just going to gently put them in there. And I did say gently, and right after I said gently, I spilled half of the chicken. So. I'm just going to pile up the last one right in here. Okay. Now we're going to put our sauce on top of our enchiladas. Like that. And we're going to top with either mozzarella cheese, pepper jack, Monterey, whatever you like, a mixture of cheeses, whatever your favorite cheese is. And for the chicken, I think I only used about 2 chicken breasts, and I still have plenty of chicken left over, which I'm going to use for probably taquitos or maybe a chicken bowl. So many things I could do with that chicken. So you just want to make sure there's an even layer of cheese. And then we're going to bake them for about 20 minutes at 375. And we're going to bake them uncovered. Now they're ready to go in the oven. Now it's been 20 minutes and I just took my enchiladas out of the oven. Now I'm going to let them sit for about 5 minutes before I cut into them. Now I just cut into my enchiladas after letting them sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. They look amazing and they taste even better. I hope you guys give this enchilada casserole a try, as it is just so delicious and so flavorful. Nothing compares to the Poblano the flavor that the poblanos give the enchilada sauce. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.